Make in India has failed. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because India is refusing to produce.
34 बार 34 times China, 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 China.
जब उनके बातों का उत्तर भाजपा के पास नहीं है तो वो डगमगा गए हैं, डर गए हैं।
समस्याओं पर तो सब चर्चा करते हैं, लेकिन समस्याओं का हल, सॉल्यूशन बहुत कम लोग खोज कर लाते हैं। नेता विपक्ष श्री राहुल गांधी जी ने आज सॉल्यूशंस, हल से भरा हुआ एक क्लियर कट रोड मैप, एक विजन, एक स्ट्रैटेजी पूरे देश के सामने रखी है अपने स्पीच के जरिए। बेरोजगारी, महंगाई, इसके अलावा अन्य जो इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल चैलेंजेस हैं जो देश के सामने हैं, उसको कैसे एड्रेस किया जाए, उसके बारे में एक उन्होंने विजन आज अपनी स्पीच के द्वारा देश के सामने रखा है। हर किसी को, खास करके युवाओं को, ये स्पीच को देखना चाहिए, सुनना चाहिए। So please watch this speech of Mr. Rahul.
I want to tell the youngsters of this country, people talk about AI, but it's important to understand that AI on its own is absolutely meaningless. And if we look at data today, there is one thing which is very clear. Every single piece of data that comes out of the production system in the world, the data that was used to make this phone, the data that is used to make electric cars, the data that is used to make basically all electronics on the planet today is owned by China. And the consumption data is owned by the United States. In China, the consumption data is owned by China, but in India, companies like Google, companies like Facebook, companies like Instagram, X, they own our consumption data. So if India wants to talk about AI, it has to first answer the question, what data is going to power that AI? The answer today is India does not have that data. Neither does India have production data, neither does India have consumption data. We have handed our consumption data to the big American companies, and the production data we don't have anything. We would start getting youngsters excited about this revolution. We would start to introduce the idea of a completely new way of moving. We would start teaching our children in schools about batteries, about electric motors, about how these things combine, about how drones, robots, electric cars are structured, how they will work together. And most important, we have to start building a production network so that we can get access to production data. Now, what would we focus on? We would not give you a laundry list. China has at least a 10-year lead on India in this space. China has been working on batteries, robots, motors, optics for the last 10 years, and we are behind. The future of this country is going to be decided by the young men and women of this country, the youth of this country. So I think anything we say has to be addressed to them, has to be spoken to them. The first thing in front of us, and this is something I'm sure the Prime Minister would accept, and pretty much everybody in this room will accept, a universal problem that we have faced is that we have not been able to tackle the problem of unemployment. No, neither the UPA government nor today's NDA government has given a clear-cut answer to the youth of India about employment. Something I would agree with directionally. The Prime Minister proposed the Make in India program. I think a good idea. We saw the statues, we saw the functions, we saw the so-called investment, and the result is right in front of me. Manufacturing fell from 15.3% of GDP in 2014 to 12.6% of GDP today. That is the lowest share of manufacturing in 60 years. I'm not even blaming the Prime Minister, because I think it would not be fair to say he didn't try. I could say that the Prime Minister tried, and I think conceptually Make in India was a good idea. But it's pretty clear that he failed. We have the Chinese, and the Prime Minister has denied it, and the army has contradicted the Prime Minister, disagreed with the Prime Minister that China is sitting on 4,000 square kilometers of our land, of our territory. The reason China is inside our territory is important. Because people think that wars are fought between armies and their weapons. But the fact of the matter is that wars are fought by industrial systems. The fact of the matter is that China has an industrial system that is far stronger, far bigger than our industrial system. And that is why they have the guts to come inside this country. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because Make in India has failed. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because India is refusing to produce. And I am worried that India is going to give up this revolution to the Chinese once again. The reason I made this reference is because everything is connected. If and when we fight a war with China, we will be fighting with Chinese electric motors, Chinese batteries, Chinese optics, and we will be buying Chinese motors, Chinese optics, Chinese batteries. It is a non-sustainable proposition. That is why for our security, for the future of our children, for the future of our country, we have to build a production system, and we cannot allow this revolution to go by.
राहुल गांधी जी ने सदन में अपना भाषण रखा। महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण पर जो अभिनंदन भाषण होता है, राहुल गांधी जी ने सदन में बोला। मुझे तो आज मन है कि मैं उन्हें राहुल जिनपिंग ही कहूं। 34 बार 34 टाइम्स चाइना 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 34 बार चाइना का नाम लिया है राहुल जिनपिंग ने। मुझे तो लगता है कभी कभी वो जो टीवी सीरियल चलता था अगले जन्म मोहे, तो राहुल गांधी तो अपने मन में कहते ही होंगे कि अगले जन्म मोहे चाइनीज ही की जो, अगले जन्म मोहे चाइनीज ही की जो, इतना चाइना 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 प्रेम है।
जब उनके बातों का उत्तर भाजपा के पास नहीं है तो वो डगमगा गए हैं, डर गए हैं। देखिए, मुझे आज राहुल गांधी जी की भाषण या स्पीच बहुत दमदार और बढ़िया और सकारात्मक लगी, प्रभावशाली लगी, क्योंकि उनके भाषण में भारत को लेकर एक नई दिशा सुनाई दी, जिसमें वो भारत के युवा वर्ग को प्रोत्साहित कर रहे थे कि शिक्षा और टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में वो और आगे बढ़े, ताकि भारत का उद्योग आने वाले समय में चीनी कंपनियों के साथ मुकाबला कर सके। ये अफसोस की बात है कि आज भारत उद्योग की स्थिति ऐसी है कि ज़्यादातर हमारा इंपोर्ट चाइना से आ रहा है और पिछले कई सालों से चाइना से इंपोर्ट और बढ़ रहा है। तो एक तरफ चीन हमारे जमीन पर कब्जा किया हुआ है और वहीं पर भारत सरकार की आर्थिक नीतियों के कारण चीन हमारे भारत को और एक्सपोर्ट भी कर रहा है। तो इस दुविधा से कैसे बचे, उसके लिए राहुल गांधी जी ने ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी, कैमरा टेक्नोलॉजी, सेंसर टेक्नोलॉजी, इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर टेक्नोलॉजी, बैटरी टेक्नोलॉजी पर बहुत सकारात्मक बातें रखी। जब उनके बातों का उत्तर भाजपा के पास नहीं है तो वो डगमगा गए हैं, डर गए हैं।